Hello everyone, Mr. Creepyashell here. Before we get started with this video, I just want to wish you a happy holiday season. Also, please like and share this video if you enjoy it. And if you love the content that I'm putting out, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you cut on all notification bells so you will be notified whenever I release a new video. Because if you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel,
Grumpus is gonna come for you.
My name is Emily, and what I'm about to share with you is something disturbing. Whenever people go through something horrific in their lifetime, they find ways to cope with that or distract themselves. Most of the time, these people get hobbies, like myself included. I had two life events that had happened to me that nearly almost destroyed me. One, my younger sister went missing. She went missing when I was about 9 years old. She was 4 at the time. And for about a couple of weeks, my family kept looking for her, but they couldn't find her. And then after that, authorities just presumed her dead. And this bothered my mother and my father, and also bothered me as well. And then by the time I was 12, I got into an accident. I was walking to school when I got ran over by a car. It broke something in the back of my spine that made my legs numb and I couldn't move them at all. Therefore, I was paralyzed from the waist down and I had to be in a wheelchair. To say that this made me depressed was an understatement. It really messed up a lot of things for me. I couldn't play soccer. I couldn't go for walks like I used to. I had to adapt and learn how to adapt to a new normal. This made me very depressed because I couldn't do the things that I used to do. Eventually, that changed when I was driving with my mother and I happened to see while she was driving a store called Mr. Gus's Doll Wonder. It was a doll store where he makes porcelain dolls and sells them. At the time, I thought it was unique. I pleaded with my mom to let me go here, and she did. I went inside and I saw all the dolls that were on display. I came in my wheelchair and that's when I saw him. A man who had wavy white hair and a beard around his face. Immediately I assumed that it was Mr. Gus, and I was right. I rolled my wheelchair over there to him. He smiled and then he said to me, good afternoon, young lady. I see that you came across my store. See anything that interests you? Let me know. I can give you a 50% off for first-time customers. No, I'm just looking around, I told the store owner. He proceeded to walk into a different aisle as I kept on looking around. And that's when I noticed a doll. It looked similar to my sister, the way it looked. It had that ponytail that my sister had before she went missing, and similar clothes, a polka-dotted white dress. It looked beautiful. I see that one caught your attention. Would you like to buy that one? No, I would, but it's just my mom doesn't have the money and I don't have the money. So I'm just gonna put it back and I'm gonna go ahead and get out of your store. I'm sorry. The man stood there for a few minutes, looking at the doll and looking at me as I was leaving the store. Before I got out of the store, I heard the man shout it out to me. Wait, hold on. Wait, before you go, I'll just give it to you. You can have it. It'll be like a little gift for being my first customer. Now, in return, though, you gotta go around telling all the little girls about the store. That would be my payment for giving you that free doll. I think you can do that, right? Sure, I can definitely do that. Thank you so much, Mr. Gus. I really appreciate this, I responded to Mr. Gus. Afterwards, I rolled my wheelchair out of the store, and my mother helped me get back in the car. And I told all the other people about his little shop. For the next couple of years, I would go in and out of Mr. Gus' shop to buy dolls and collect them, and that was something I was passionate about. I also learned how to create dolls from him as well. He was like a little mentor. Eventually, when I turned 18 and graduated school, I needed a job. But a lot of people didn't want to hire me because I was disabled. But Mr. Gus came to my rescue. He offered me a cashier position, and I took it immediately. And plus the pay was very good as well. And I'll be doing something that I enjoy doing. So for the next couple of days, Mr. Gus showed me around, and everything was well and wonderful. But when he got to an area that was closed off with a lock and it had a sign said "Do not disturb," Gus looked at me. And at this moment right here, this was a red flag, but I didn't pay much attention to it. He got all serious and pointed at the door, and he looked at me with a look of like, I don't know how to explain it. It was a stern, serious look. And he said to me, "Now, Emily, whatever you do, please do not ever go inside that door, okay? That's private and that's not meant for no one but me to see. I'm telling you right now, don't go through that door. I don't care what you hear or I don't care what you think you know, don't go through this door." I looked at him, a little confused and a little shaken up how he talked it to me. And then he said, "Emily, I'm not saying this to be me, I'm saying this for your safety. You know, there's a bunch of stairs in here and I don't want you to, roll over in your wheelchair. Just a safety hazard. That's all. I just want to make sure you're safe." "Oh, okay, thanks," I responded to Mr. Gus. Afterwards, I started to work. I was stocking up some dolls that Mr. Gus had built, and I was putting them on the shelf and pricing them, as well as running the cash register. At some point, it got a little busy, and Mr. Gus helped me out with the cash register with the busy and bustling customers that were coming in, buying dolls for their daughters or someone that they care about. A couple hours later, the customer rush simmered down, and that's when Mr. Gus told me, "All right, Emily, I'm gonna go ahead and go home for the day. I'll let you close up the shop. The shop closes at 10 o'clock p.m. sharp, so just lock everything up. I'm trusting you, and after that, you can head home. You've done a good job." "Will do, Mr. Gus." After that, it started to get more quieter and quieter. And by the time 10 o'clock came, I locked the door and made sure everything was secured. I was about to head out, but I stopped in my tracks when I heard a noise. It sounded like someone was knocking on something or a door or a wall. I ran around the store to see where it was coming from, but I couldn't pinpoint the noise. Eventually, I passed by the back room, where Mr. Gus told me that I wasn't allowed to go in, that it was only for his eyes only, and that's where I heard the knocking at. It was weird. I tried to open the door, but then I remembered that Mr. Gus said that there were stairs down there, and that it wouldn't be easy for me to get down there. I waited a couple of minutes, but the knocking was persistent. I then tried to open the door, even though I know that there were stairs down there, but I was hoping that I can see maybe through there without going down there what was making the knocking noise, but the door was locked. Eventually, after a couple of minutes, the knocking stopped. The next day, I came into work, worked it with Mr. Gus, and everything was similar to yesterday. Basically a carbon copy for the next week. As I was about to close out, Mr. Gus was gone, and then I heard that knocking again. This kept going on for about 2 weeks, but then on a third particular week, there was something different that happened. Mr. Gus stayed a little bit longer than usual during closing time. If I remember correctly, it was actually on Christmas Eve, and a lot of people were buying their significant others or their kids or their daughters gifts, and Mr. Gus wanted to stay open a little bit longer, so he wanted me to stay until 11 o'clock p.m. instead of 10 o'clock p.m. He left at around 10:45 p.m. and he entrusted me in closing the store down. I done that, but as I was about to leave, that's when I heard someone cry out. "Help! Help!" My heart was beating fast because I know for sure that was someone crying out for help. I immediately tried to open the door, but it was locked. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I knew someone was down there. There was no mistaking. I tried banging on the door, and then I said, "Hello? Anyone down there? I'm gonna get you some help. I'm gonna get you out of there. Just hold on." I tried my very best to push the door open, but it wouldn't budge. And then I tried to use my wheelchair to try to ram the door open, but that didn't do anything. Instead, I almost caused my wheelchair to flip over, and that would have been really bad for me, and I wouldn't be able to help anyone. So I decided to look around to see if I could find a paper clip or something that can at least try to pick at the lock. But I couldn't find any paper clips anywhere. But that's when it dawned on me. I remember there was a bunch of knives inside of a drawer in the break room area. I went in there and I grabbed a knife and I went back and tried to unlock the door. It took me a couple of minutes, but I was able to pry it open. And when I pried it open, I was in shock because there was no stairs. It was just a ramp that I can easily bring my wheelchair down there. It was like a little basement, and it was quiet at first, so I decided to roll my wheelchair down there. I didn't hear the person say anything. Once I got down there, I nearly stopped in horror on what I saw, and what I saw will be the reason why I would never collect dolls again, and anyone ever talks to me about dolls, I will never speak of them. Something I witnessed that will stay scarred with me for the rest of my life. And what I saw was people, actually women and girls. They were dressed like dolls. They had heavy makeup on, and they were just standing there or sitting down, positioned like dolls. What's going on here? Guys, have y'all been down here this whole entire time? Hello? Hey! One of the women tried to move her arms, but she couldn't. And then once I got closer, I realized something was really horribly wrong. I looked in the trash can near the girls and the women where they were sitting at, and there was a bunch of needles in there. I looked closely, and then I realized they were injected with muscle relaxer, and I was really horrified. Something was going on here, and Gus knew about it. But before I can try to call 911, that's when I heard a voice behind me. "Emily, I think I made it pretty clear that you were never to come back here. Naughty girl. And I really liked you. I watched you grow up. You were like a daughter to me. Oh my God. When you stick your neck out for people, this is how they repay you. Oh, Emily, I can't let you go now. You saw too much." I turned around slowly, and it was Mr. Gus. He looked at me in a way I've never seen him look at me before. He was like a completely different person. He had this wide, sinister smile. His eyes look of sinister and evilness. It made me want to throw up. How someone who I thought was so nice can turn out to be such a horrible person. Why would you do this? Are you kidnapping women and children? There was reports about this stuff going on for the last couple of or several years. This stuff has been going on since I was a kid. It was you. You were kidnapping these people. Oh my God. That means that you probably had something to do with my sister. Oh my God. Mr. Gus, you're a monster, I said to him. He stood there and smiled, and then he said, "Oh, well, yes, of course. I love actually kidnapping women and little girls and turning them into my collection. I don't get much satisfaction out of creating fake dolls. The real ones are much better, especially when you drug them. And guess what? I need a little bit of a diversity in this collection, and you would be perfect for it, Emily." I tried to get away from him, but then he grabbed my wheelchair and started moving me towards the women and girls. And then, as I got closer, he stopped me by one particular teenage girl. She looked like she was a little younger than me. She looked like she was about 16 or 17. And then Gus looked at me, and then he smiled, and he said something. And what he said was shocking, a little bit relieved too, but more so shocked and just terrified. You see this here, Emily? This is your sister that went missing. She's right here, good and healthy. I was shocked because we all thought my sister was dead, but she was very much alive, and Mr. Gus had her here the whole entire time. I was even more disgusted with him. I had tried to call out to my sister, but she was too much drugged up. I was angry. All that fear turned to anger, and I looked at Mr. Gus, and he tried to stop me, but then I used my wheelchair and I went past him super fast, to the point I crushed all 10 of his toes. He yelped out in pain. I continued to race out of the store, and I screamed out for help. A couple of minutes later, several people came towards me, and I pointed to what Mr. Gus was doing. A lot of people went inside there, and what they saw down that basement, they were equally horrified, just as horrified as I was. Eventually, a couple of people subdued Mr. Gus, and then the cops were called. All the women and the victims were taken to the hospital, but all of them survived. They done a DNA test, and the woman who Mr. Gus was claiming was my sister, she indeed was my sister. And once she healed, she told me that she's been in there since she was little, and she doesn't remember what time it was or how many years had passed. I was disgusted. I was working with a man who had my sister in another room, tied up and drugging her up like some doll. It was really disgusting. It got so disgusting that a lot of little girls who bought dolls from him threw them away. For me, I no longer collect dolls, because every time I do, I think about what Mr. Gus have done. Luckily, my sister is doing okay. As I'm telling you this, she's still receiving a lot of therapy, because who wouldn't need therapy after dealing with someone like Mr. Gus, having you trapped inside of a basement for all those years? I hope he rots forever and he never sees the light of day again.